عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين، أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه والتابعين وتابعيهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد, today is the 14th of Rajab 1438, and this matches the 11th of April 2017. And we are still going on with our topic موعظة المؤمنين أو تهذيب موعظة المؤمنين من إحياء علوم الدين. And we last time the author was still speaking about the way to achieve حسن الخلق, the good character. And he mentioned that either Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is graceful towards someone, and that someone by innate nature, naturally, by his instinct, would have a good character or would have a tendency towards having a good character. He is calm, he is easygoing, and he is generous, the likes of that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants him this quality since birth. Or he will achieve this through training himself to this good quality or good character. And he says that maybe in the beginning, the beginning of the training, it is somewhat difficult. He has to somewhat basically act like someone who is forbearant, halim. Act like someone who is patient. Maybe he isn't, but he's acting as such. Act like someone who is generous, up until this becomes a quality within him, because he trained himself to it over and over, up until it becomes a habit for him. This good character has to turn into a habit, not something that he does once in a very long while. It has to be something that he is doing or having as a quality constantly. He has to have that constantly. As long as someone is continuously feeling dislike, feeling like it's a burden upon him to do what Allah wants from him, and to stay away from what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not want from him. As long as he still has this dislike, and it is burdensome for him to follow Allah's orders, then he still did not reach the goal. He still has to continue trying up until he achieves that goal. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, about the salah, he says, وَإِنَّهَا لَكَبِيرَةٌ. It is big. It's not something easy. إِلَّا عَلَى الْخَاشِعِينَ. Except for those who have khushu', who have their hearts humbled, who have humility towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those, the salah will become easy for them. To a point that Rasulullah ﷺ used to say about the salah, it's a comfort, a source of comfort for him. And he would tell Bilal radiallahu anhu to bring peace, tranquility and comfort by calling the salah, by calling the iqamah to the salah. And this is something the author is saying is not something that is strange for the believer to be so much attached to the Islamic injunctions, the Islamic rulings, salah and otherwise. He becomes so attached to them to a point he does not find peace, comfort and tranquility except in those things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala legislated. It is not strange. It is something that is doable and achievable. He said, if you look at the people of sins, the sinners, those who gamble, those who drink, you will find that although those different things they are doing, those sins they are committing, it may be causing them a lot of trouble. But they are so much attached, so much in love, so much infatuated with those sins that they are doing, to a point that they cannot imagine life without it. Right? This, although those sins and disobediences, actually, they are against the human nature. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the human with the fitrah, that is naturally inclined towards loving the truth and following the truth. Allah created the human like that. And the famous hadith that every newborn is born upon fitrah. It is his parents that they make him a Jew, a Christian, or a fire worshipper. Otherwise, if he was left alone with his nature, the instinct that Allah created him with, he will find him turning to things that are good. Right? It's like he said, someone who got used to eating a type of food that is not actually edible, but because he got used to it and got accustomed to it, he's eating it. Otherwise, if he was not given that habit, then he will eat only the good types of food. So this is the case, and you do more and more on more of these qualities, or those actions that will bring you those good qualities, up until you achieve it. If Allah blessed you with a good character, then you added to this, you training yourself more to having it, and then you also get even more of it through the good company. Yani maybe Allah created you, you have this sense of generosity in you. Then you try to push yourself to be generous. Then you accompany generous people, right? So now this quality there is going to be added more and more and more. Same with forbearance, hilm. Same with patience. And on and on. If all of these different factors get together, then you will achieve the end goal, which will be a very good achievement in the end. Now, this section, that was the summary of last time. This section, he is going to try to go more into details about the way in rectifying, refining the character. And then he will tell us about the ways by which you can detect, you can tell your deficiencies, your flaws, uyub, right? So the detailed way of how to achieve refining the character. Once again, he reminds us that what is required in akhlaq, in manners, is al-i'tidal, to be justly balanced. And if one is going a little bit more to the extreme of being overboard, doing more than he should be, then that is wrong. And if he's doing less, falling short than what he should be doing, then this is also wrong or a mistake. What is required regarding akhlaq is to be justly balanced. He gave us the example of anger, that it is not required from you, to completely wipe out anger, because otherwise you will not defend yourself. You will not defend your family members if you don't have that anger within you, right? While if you do, or you have it extra, it's more than what it should, then you will attack people and oppress them. So what is required is to justly balance this quality, and all the other qualities like that. Generosity. If you overspend, then you are a spendthrift, mubadhir, and these are the brothers of Satan, ikhwan al-shayateen. And if you fall short, then al-bukhl wa-shuh, stinginess and greed, waliyadu billah. But what you want to be is in between. So he reminds us of this. And he said that if you are now tilting more towards one of the two sides, and you're not taking a middle course, you are tilting towards the extreme of overboard or the extreme of falling short, then there is a problem there that you have to be fixing. He says, if you imagine that the body has some sort of sickness, right? You need to fix this. You need to treat your body. You need to treat your body and bring it back to health. Bring it back to health. So if your body is healthy and the doctor finds you that you have a healthy body, then alhamdulillah, the doctor will advise you in a way that you will preserve and keep healthy. He will give you tips and pieces of advice so that you will remain healthy, right? Likewise, the self. If you have good qualities in you, then alhamdulillah, you need to work on preserving and you need to work on the upkeep of those good qualities within you, and you keep them and try to bring more of these good qualities, or strengthen and fortify those good manners that you have. And then you gain even more of the other qualities which you do not have. Now, if it was the opposite, you had some bad qualities, then you have to treat this like you treat the body. You have to treat those bad morals in you so that you will bring them to the balance. Once again, you bring them to the balance. Now this means that those sicknesses, you treat the sickness with something that will oppose it. If you have some sort of a disease, microbe, because due to a microbe or to a virus or to whatever, then you need to give it the medicine that will oppose it and will stop it, right? Likewise, the same. Likewise, the same with those evil qualities. So those sicknesses of the heart, you treat them with the opposite. For instance, ignorance is treated with knowledge, seeking knowledge. And stinginess is treated with generosity. Arrogance is treated with humbleness, at-tawadu', right? Greed, sharah, greed, and always desiring food, right? It will be treated by stopping yourself from following this, desire of eating and eating more and drinking more, right? So even if you have to push yourself, right, go out of your way to stop yourself from overeating, right? To treat this bad habit of overeating, you have to treat it with the opposite quality. And exactly like the sick person has to endure the bitterness of the medicine. يحتمل مرارة الدواء. Exactly like the sick person has to endure and withstand the bitterness of the medicine and be patient. Likewise, the one who is treating his heart, he has to do the same way. He has to endure and withstand the bitterness of striving against those bad qualities that he has or she has in the heart, and therefore those sicknesses of the heart will be treated in a good way. He says that مرض البدن يخلص منه بالموت. The sickness of the body, it may end up in dying. But maradul qalb, the sickness of the heart, wal'iyadhu billah, we seek refuge with Allah from that, is even far worse than the sickness of the body. لأن مرض القلب يدوم بعد الموت أبد الآباد. The sickness, the disease that happens to the heart, it continues even after death, and it will destroy you forever. Right? If you were a good person with a good character, a religious person, practicing Muslim, you got a sickness in your body, a disease or something, you passed away. That is a calamity, but alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, you died upon something good. But if you have a disease in the heart, like arrogance, for instance, like cheating, hypocrisy, wal'iyadhu billah, show off, wal'iyadhu billah, and you end up dying with that. That person, his body died, but then after death, alhamdulillah, he's okay. It's just the body that is sick. But the person whose heart is sick, he is someone who is destroyed forever, wal'iyadhu billah. Even after death, he is not going to be safe. So, the collective way of treating the hearts is actually, he says, he puts it nicely, suluku al-mudadda. Suluku maslaki al-mudadda is for you to thread a path, to walk on a path of opposition. Opposition. Opposition to what? لِكُلِّ مَا تَهْوَاهُ النَّفْسُ وَتَمِيلُ إِلَيْهِ. You need to oppose everything that your heart or your soul desires and what your soul is inclined to doing. Allah Azza wa Jal جمع ذلك كله في كتابه العزيز في كلمة واحدة. قال الله تعالى: وأما من خاف مقام ربه وَنَهَى النَّفْسَ عَنِ الْهَوَى. He forbade himself from desires. نَهَى النَّفْسَ عَنِ الْهَوَى. He forbade himself from desires. فَإِنَّ الْجَنَّةَ هِيَ الْمَأْوَى. Then surely paradise is the abode. As in Surah An-Nazi'at, وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ. As for the one who fears the standing before his Lord, his station before his Lord. Everyone will meet his Lord. Every one of us will meet his Lord, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As in the hadith, no translators. لَيْسَ بَيْنَهُ وَبَيْنَهُ تُرْجُمَانٌ. Everyone will be facing this on the day of judgment. So, وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ. As for the one who feared that type of station, that standing before his Lord, وَنَهَى النَّفْسَ عَنِ الْهَوَى. This نَهَى النَّفْسَ عَنِ الْهَوَى, he forbade, he stopped himself from following desires. This is what he summarizes as سُلُوكُ مَسْلَكِ الْمُضَادَّةِ. You have to tread a path, to walk on a path, on a way of opposing the desires. Whatever your soul desires and is inclined to, you need to face yourself. You need to stop it from doing that. If you do, then you will have the paradise as an abode. He says, الأصل المهم في الوجاهدة الوفاء بالعزم. The main point, the main principle in striving, this effort that you will be spending, the main thing in it is fulfilling the intention and the will. That's the main thing. If you have no will, no azm, right? No strong will, no intention, no strong desire, right? To fulfill, this issue of effort, striving to stop yourself from evil. You have no will power you're weak, right? Your inner soul is very weak. Then if you have that, then you are okay. He says, فَإِذَا عَزَمَ عَلَى تَرْكِ شَهْوَةٍ فَقَدْ تَيَسَّرَتْ أَسْبَابُهَا. If he has the strong will to leave a desire, then the causes and the means to staying away from that desire have been facilitated, have been made easy. Why? Because you have the strong will, right? You have the strong will. That will be a test from Allah. يكون ذلك ابتلاء من الله تعالى واختبارا. This will be a test from Allah. He says, فَيَنْبَغِي أَنْ يَصْبِرَ وَأَنْ يَسْتَمِرْ. Right? He has to be patient and he has to continue. Because you have the will, but then you somehow feel weak and fall. Right? But then you have to, refine and bring back that willpower again. Don't, hold back. If it happens once, don't stop there. You say, I have no will. I'm not strong. I'm very weak in front of desires. If you say that, you are lost. You have to start again every time and renew your intention, revive your will, strengthen your will, right? And start again. Because فَإِنَّهُ إِنْ عَوَّدَ نَفْسَهُ تَرْكَ الْعَزْمِ أَلِفَتْ ذَلِكَ فَفَسَدَتْ. If he gets himself accustomed to abandoning this willpower, having the will again, right? Then his soul will become completely corrupt. It will be utterly ruined. وَالْعِيَذُ بِاللَّهِ عَافَانَ اللَّهُ مِنْ فَسَادِهَا. May Allah give us well-being from the corruption of the intention and the willpower. Right? Even if you stand up, then you find yourself falling. Stand up again. Stand up again. This fall was only a test. It was only a trial. You have to strive again and stand up again. You fall, then you stand up again. Don't give up. Don't give up the will. He says, if you continue to have the will, then Allah Azza wa Jal will facilitate the means for you. But if you turn away from this will, then you become corrupt. As why in the hadith, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-ajzi wal-kasal. Oh Allah, I seek refuge with you. I ask you to protect me from a state of ajz, inability, and the state of kasal, laziness. You cannot do anything. Nothing can happen on. The human cannot do. All the humans, they cannot do anything on earth. They are not able to do anything, execute anything, no action, right? Except with the will. They want to do it, and they have to have the ability to do it. Sometimes you have the will, you want to do it, but you are unable, physically, financially, whatever. You are unable. That is the state of inability. You are sort of handicapped, right? There is a problem. You want, your heart is very intent, but your ability is not there. The reverse is, وَالْعِيَذُ بِاللَّهِ, is, mashallah, Allah has given you all the means, but you don't want. You don't want. The will is not there. Right? The will is not there. The first case is inability. You want, but you can't. The second case is al-kasal, laziness. Laziness. You can, but you don't want. You don't want. Get up to the masjid. Allah has given you everything. You're strong, you're healthy, you're You just set up your alarm and get up and go, and that's it. But if you don't want, it's just not gonna happen because you don't want. That's laziness. The other case is inability. So Rasulullah ﷺ used to seek refuge with Allah from both states. The state of being sort of crippled and handicapped, you cannot do it, you don't have the ability, although you wish. And the other case is the laziness, where you have the ability but you don't want. Right? Next, he talks about the way by which you can tell your flaws and deficiencies. And this is an important topic. He says, you must know that if Allah wanted good for someone, إن أراد بعبده خيرا بصره بعيوب نفسه. He will give him insight. He will make him see his own flaws and deficiencies. فمن كانت بصيرته نافذة لم تخف عليه عيوبه. The one who has strong insight, his flaws and deficiencies will not be hidden from him. He will recognize, he will detect, he will know his mistakes. So if one knows the flaws and the deficiencies, the wrongs within himself, then the treatment will be possible. The treatment will be possible. But he says, أكثر الخلق جاهلون بعيوب أنفسهم. But most of the people, they are ignorant of their own flaws and deficiencies. They are ignorant of them. He says, and he's quoting from a statement from Abu Huraira radiallahu anhu. It's an authentic statement from him. يرى أحدهم القذى في عين أخيه ولا يرى الجذع في عين نفسه. He would see a little, little small tiny dirt in the eye of his brother, but he doesn't see like a branch in his eye. Right? The small thing, small mistake of others, he can detect it. Even it's very small and minute, he can detect it and find it. But for himself, he has flaws and deficiencies as big as a branch of a tree. He doesn't see that. Most of the people are like this. Most of the people are like this. Because everyone admires himself, likes and loves himself. Right? So he's looking at himself with the eye of pleasure and satisfaction. عين الرضا. عين الرضا. Looking at others with عين السخط. The eye that is the eye of anger. The eyes of wrath. Right? If you are pleased with someone, your wife, your child, your neighbor, your friend, you see everything good in them. Even they have mistakes, they have problems, you overlook them. But then, if someone you don't like, then somehow you can find all the mistakes, right? And you cannot overlook the mistakes, and you magnify them. وعين الرضا عن كل عيب كليلة كما أن عين السخط تبدي المساوية. Right? The eye of satisfaction, it is unable, it is weak to detect any mistake. Why? It's the eye of satisfaction. You're looking with satisfaction and pleasure. Exactly like the eye of anger, right? The eye of animosity and hate, right? It detects a lot of mistakes, right? So now the subject of this book, or the subject of this section of this book, is for us to find those problems within us so that we will move on to good character. And this subject actually, many of us, they would think, oh nice, good character, and it's like something extra, something voluntary, tatawwa, voluntary, nawafil, right? It is not actually nawafil. It is not. As we learned before, you must know the evil characters so that you stay away from them. Because if you don't, then you will be destroyed. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. And dealing with many of the issues that happen with us in our masajid, in our homes, between father and mother, husband and wife, husband or father and children, mother and children, neighbors, even at the schools, friends. Many of the issues, the problems that happen on a daily basis that is ripping us apart is because of this. We don't care about husn al-khuluq. We don't care about that. Unfortunately, يعني. إِلَّا مَنْ رَحِمَ اللَّهِ, except those whom Allah has mercy on them. We are not competing. We are not competing to have the highest place in paradise. Although we claim, mashallah, practicing and يعني, masjid people, paradise and the hellfire and this, all of this supposed to be on our mind, but we are not doing enough. We're not competing. The house in the highest of paradise, Al-Firdaus, that Rasulullah ﷺ guaranteed, he guaranteed it for the one who has good character. لِمَنْ حَسُنَ خُلُقُهُ. The heaviest thing on the scale is حسن الخلق. The heaviest thing on the scale. أثقل شيء في الميزان. Right? But we don't see ourselves competing into this. Everyone is like, I'm minding my business, you mind your own. We're not trying to be the source of goodness for ourselves and those who are around us. Right? And therefore, the sad states of affairs that we are going through. That is the case. That is the case. So now he says, in order for you to detect, to find your flaws, الطريقة التي تعرف بها عيوب نفسك. He says there are 4 ways. 4 ways that you will be able to recognize your mistakes, your flaws, your deficiencies, العيوب. Right? The first one, أن يجلس بين يدي شيخ بصير بعيوب النفس مطلع على خفايا الآفات ويتبع إشارته في مجاهدته. وهذا شأن التلميذ مع أستاذه. فيعرفه أستاذه عيوب نفسه ويعرفه طريق علاجه. He says the first way is that you sit with a sheikh who is basir, who has insight regarding the flaws and the deficiencies of the self. He is someone who knows those hidden problems, hidden defects that the people might not easily see or recognize. So you follow him, you follow his guidance, and you follow the way he wants you to treat, to fight this illness or this evil quality that you have. This is usually the way of the student with the teacher, right? He will learn from his teacher, and therefore he will know the sickness, the disease, and the treatment, right? However, there is, here, a point to be mentioned, that this road has become full of claimants, those who claim they are the big sheikh and they know what to do, and they know how to teach you and they know how to show you the way, and you end up being just as they say, as the dead body in front of the washer, the one who's washing him, right? That's how they want you to be. Complete obedience and just blindly follow whatever this person is saying. And those people, they might end up being people who are very far away from guidance, actually. They assume the role of such a teacher, but they don't have the qualities. They don't have the credentials. They're not qualified. They actually are imposters, yani pretenders to be as such, and when they are not, right? So this is a dangerous area. You have to be alert, right? The first one that is to be followed from the humans, that everybody has to follow, is Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? Not anybody else, right? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is number one, right? Yes, we listen, we benefit from the others, from the scholars, for those who teach us, and so on and so forth, but not in a way that we go against his sunnah. Anything that goes against his sunnah, then that is a deviant way. Khairul huda huda Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. The best of guidance is that of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But there is no doubt that there are still always within the ummah those teachers who have knowledge, who are upon guidance, and they can tell you, if you can find someone like that, whom you can sit with, so that he will learn the deficiencies, the problems, the flaws of the self, so that we will learn from him how we can fix those, then this is one of the best ways of knowing your mistakes and your flaws and your problems. And this is part of what we are doing here. We are getting the knowledge from those scholars who passed us, who tried to prepare and present to us the topic so that we will learn from it. However, if you can find a living example of it, a sheikh that you can learn from, then that's one of the most effective ways. So you go to them, you present to them the issues, and you see what they advise. The second way of knowing your mistakes, أن يطلب صديقا صدوقا بصيرا متدينا. For you to look for a friend who is a true friend, who has insight, who is a practicing Muslim, mutadayyin, a religious person. He will look and notice your statements and your conditions, right? So whatever he sees that you have of bad character, he will alert you to those bad qualities. And this is the way the great imams of the religion used to do. Al-akabir min a'immat ad-din. That's what they used to do. Umar radiallahu anhu, it is reported from him that he said, Rahimallahu imra'an ahda ilayya uyubi. May Allah have mercy on a person who will give me my flaws and deficiencies, my mistakes, he will give them as a gift for me. Being alerted to his mistakes and to his shortcomings he is viewing as a gift. He used to ask Hudhayfa ibn al-Yaman, sahibu sirri Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was the companion who had secrets of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whom Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam confided to him even the names of the hypocrites. Right? He told them. So Umar radiallahu anhu, he would come to him and he says, I ask you by Allah, did he mention me? Did Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mention me within the hypocrites? Are there anything pertaining to hypocrisy that is within me? He says to him, no, وَلَا أُزَكِّي أَحَدًا بَعْدَكَ. He says, no, and I'm not gonna praise and free and declare innocent anyone after you. I don't want to say to anybody else that you are free, because now everyone will come and ask Hudhayfa radiallahu anhu, am I one of them or not? Right? And one of the scholars of the past, he used to say, if Umar radiallahu anhu was to ask about himself, right? Who are we? Who are we? Some of us think, the Egyptians, they put it in a nice way. It's a slang. They say, ala rasu risha. He has like a feather on his head. They mean by that, he's distinguished and distinct. He's a superman or a superwoman. Huh? There's nobody is like that. We have to like just sit with our own selves and tell ourselves that. Because if someone is criticized, they think, how dare you? I am who are Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu is asking that, right? So who are we to be angry if we are told you are wrong in this or you're wrong in that, or you didn't know this or you didn't know that, right? So here, although he has a great status, radiallahu anhu, Umar, he would ask this type of a question. This is how he would accuse himself. هكذا كانت تهمته لنفسه. This is how he would accuse himself. رضي الله عنه وأرضاه. He was like this. So the one who has a sound intellect, rich mind, he has a brain that is sound, أوفر عقلا وأعلى منصبا, higher in status, كان أقل إعجابا. He would be less in admiring himself. Less in admiring himself. Some of the scholars of the past, he used to say, if sins have a scent, have a smell, right? You wouldn't be able to sit around me. Imagine that, Imagine if you commit a sin, it has a bad smell, like garbage smell, right? And every time you do it, you have that scent out, smell, bad smell, right? You stink. And then you stink again, the people will run away, right? It's Allah's mercy that He had concealed and hidden our flaws and mistakes. So, the one who has a high status, he will be less admiring himself. And he would be accusing his own self much more. Right? And therefore, he would be so happy by others highlighting his mistakes. This is how we should be. He says, قد آل الأمر إلى أمثالنا إلى أن أبغض الخلق إلينا من ينصحنا ويعرفنا بعيوبنا ويكاد هذا أن يكون مفصحا عن ضعف الإيمان. He says, the one of us has reached the situation that the one of us would be the most hated individual to us is the one who advises us, the ones who make us recognize our flaws and shortcomings. And this is about to be something that explicitly indicating our weak faith that we have. We don't want to be advised. We don't want to be counseled. You don't want to hear that someone is pointing a finger. You don't want to hear that. Not ready for that. He says, those bad characteristics, bad morals, al-akhlaq as-sayyi'ah, they resemble hayyat wa aqarib taldagh. They are like snakes and scorpions that sting and bite. That's what those bad and evil morals are. So if someone, imagine you're sitting and under you there was a scorpion. Someone tells you you have this snake or scorpion under you, right? We would be very happy that they alerted us. They told us about that, right? And we will busy ourselves by killing the scorpion or whatever poisonous, right? And pushing it away from us. While these poisonous things, they will only hurt the body, right? They will hurt the body, right? But the bad morals, the evil characteristics, they hit you in the heart. It's a direct stab in the heart, right? في صميم القلب, in the bottom of the heart, in the heart center of the heart. And after death, as was mentioned before, the evil effect of it will continue forever. Will continue forever. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. Ending up in the fire. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. Right? So then, we are happy for someone to tell us about a harmful thing to our body, a scorpion, a snake. But we don't want people telling us about those evil characteristics, evil morals, that will completely bring us to utter, complete ruin. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. Right? Rather, or taking this advice and benefiting from it, right? You turn and you say, as he says here, وَأَنْتَ أَيْضًا تَصْنَعُ كَيْتَ وَكَيْتَ. And you too, you are doing this and that. If they tell you you have this, you have that, you turn and you say, you are doing this and you are doing that. Right? وَتَشْغَلُنَا الْعَدَاوَةُ مَعَهُ عَنِ الْإِنْتِفَاعِ بِنُصْحِهِ. Enmity with this person will busy us from benefiting from his advice. ويشبه أن يكون ذلك من قساوة القلب التي أثمرتها كثرة الذنوب وأصل ذلك ضعف الإيمان كله ضعف الإيمان. He says this is something because of the hardness of the heart. For someone not to accept advice, it indicates that his heart is so tough and hard. So tough and hard. And that is the fruit, that is the result of a lot of sins, committing a lot of sins. And all of that is based upon the weakness of faith. He says, فَنَسْأَلُ اللَّهَ تَعَالَى أَنْ يُلْهِمَنَا رُشْدَنَا. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal to inspire us, to be guided, وَيُبَصِّرَنَا بِعُيُوبِنَا, to make us see our shortcomings, وَيَشْغَلَنَا بِمُدَاوَاتِهَا. We ask Allah to busy us with treating those sicknesses that we have. وَيُوَفِّقَنَا لِلْقِيَامِ بِشُكْرِ مَنْ يُطْلِعُنَا عَلَى مَسَاوِينَا بِمَنِّهِ وَفَضْلِهِ. We ask Him to facilitate for us to thank and to be thankful, to appreciate those who make us see our shortcomings and our flaws. So this is the second way. The first way is a teacher. Second way, a true friend advising you. Third way of knowing your mistakes, أن يستفيد معرفة عيوب نفسه من ألسنة أعدائه. To benefit knowing your own mistakes and shortcomings from the tongues of your enemies. فإن عين السخط تبدي المساوية. As we mentioned, this line of poetry which says, the eye of anger, it will reveal the mistakes. If someone, he has something with you, he will look at you, he will find 101 trouble, because he doesn't like you, right? So then, rather than, busying ourselves with this enmity from that person, let us benefit. Let us benefit, because some of the things they say, maybe they find 101, right? Maybe 50 are true and 51 are untrue. So if you benefit 50 mistakes, 50 shortcomings, 50 flaws and deficiencies, bad characteristics within you, from your enemy, that is a big advantage. Big advantage, right? And for you to benefit like this from a true enemy, right, is better for you. This true enemy, clear enemy, is better for you than a friend who is just appeasing and pleasing you, always telling you you're nice, you're good, he never tells you anything that is wrong about you. This is a friend, but not a good friend. Even the enemy, you might benefit from him more than him, right? So benefit your problems and your shortcomings from the tongues of your enemies. The last one, al-mukhalata, mingling with people. Whatever you see that you don't like that people do, then ask yourself that. You go to a place, you find someone always screaming and shouting. He doesn't know how to talk except if he raises his voice. And your ear is about to, right? You learn from that. Don't do this because you don't like it. People don't like it. You find someone who is very stingy, he doesn't want to pay. Like this. You look around you, whatever you see from the people to be bad, right? Then request from your own self that I'm not going to do that. That is bad behavior. I'm not going to do it. Right? So, most of the people, they follow each other. They steal habits and qualities from each other. So then, whatever you see to be bad within the people, then look at yourself and see if you have that problem. If you don't have it, alhamdulillah. But if you have it, then don't request from yourself to stop, to desist, to stop those things that you have seen from the people which are not good. You see someone shouting, someone beating, someone always not happy, always finding trouble, always looking at the negative side, right? No matter what you do, you cannot please, then you see that this is a problem, and you don't want this to be you, right? You don't want this to be you. So there are 4 ways he mentioned. One is to find a teacher telling you your shortcomings. The second one is a true friend advising you. The third way that he mentions here is to benefit your shortcomings from the tongues of your enemies, whatever your enemies say, right? Overlook and discard the things that are not true, and benefit from them what they say about you that is true. Bad qualities in you. You talk too much. Well, maybe you talk too much, right? You scream too much. Well, maybe you scream too much. Oh, he doesn't have knowledge. He's ignorant. Maybe you are, right? So then you fix those rather than fighting with this enemy. Benefit from him. And the fourth one, mingling with people. Whatever you see of the evil qualities, try to stay away from them. And I think I will stop here, inshallah. It's 9:18, yes, so we need to stop to call adhan. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. Inshallah we continue next week بإذن الله تعالى. جزاكم الله خيرا.